All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is the 30th of September, ladies and gentlemen, the last trading day of September, and it's just a regular Tuesday. Look, we're in a week of job numbers, and you can check out my video on that. I just recently did that one on the U.S. job figures, which are coming out this week. So yeah, if you're interested in that, take a look. But this little video is mainly about oil, and I wanted to do a little short one because look, oil is at very, I would say, interesting levels, and I think it's worth mentioning that. Look, before we jump any further, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. Yes, so I think that if you are trading oil, I think it's, like I said, worth noticing a few things right now which are happening. Also, just a quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look. Basically, WTI oil, straight to the point. We had a moment where we had a push higher here back at the end of last week, and if you have watched my videos before, if you watched the big webinars, the Markets Talk, which you can always find on YouTube as well, they're in the live section. You can basically kind of understand that I'm quite bearish on oil price, and I'm not really expecting oil price to go higher, and I think that's no secret. And because again, the market right now, yes, it's booming, everything is working, we are hitting new all-time highs on in the stock market, but that's the thing. Higher oil prices are not really needed right now. There are so many ongoing conflicts, some going on issues. So politics is getting involved in here, and we know there's one person in the White House who really wants oil prices to see them lower. So, and he's kind of advising OPEC on kind of working in that direction. So basically, from the recent news, if you haven't seen the recent news, that OPEC actually decided to increase their production, their output at the end of or actually not at the end, but in November, and this in a way is coming from the point that there are some, like I said, there are ongoing conflicts. Oil seems to be consumed quicker, and in a way could be one of the justifications why we need more oil, why we need to pump a little bit more oil, so that the humanity would not run out of it, right, suddenly. So, and it wouldn't cause some sort of a boom. In a way, that is correct. So let's say if if you're expecting that the conflicts will continue going, then yes, that's the outcome that you can probably see, where suddenly refineries are getting hit, and storage facilities are getting hit. So that kind of causes the problem in the supply, and it reduces the supply. So I think that this is where OPEC maybe is coming from. But yeah, we're expecting more output in November. So on that news, we're seeing WTI oil here drifting lower. Let's have a look at what's happening with Brent. Brent oil is in a similar situation. Why is it not loading? There we go. So you can see the two are, yes, drifting lower. So let's start off with WTI oil again. At the moment, the technical picture shows that we are actually, below all my EMAs here on the daily chart. So below the 50, the 100, and the 200, shown as the green, blue, and white lines respectively. And we're once again approaching one of my key areas of support, which is around here, the 61.5 zone, approximately around there. That's what I'm, like I said, currently looking at. And I talked about this a lot, and I said to you, ladies and gentlemen, I am still bearish, and I'm still aiming for that psychological 60 level. And not only that, I'm also aiming for the areas seen back here, back in the beginning of this year. If you remember, at the beginning of this year, in the first half of this year, we were around $55. So kind of seems unbelievable sometimes, but we were actually there. Yes, after that we spiked strongly here towards the 77 mark, but then we retraced very quickly because, again, as I said, and I kept on saying that I'm going to continue being bearish, and I think that we could eventually end up traveling back to the $55 mark. But first, we need to do some clearances. The 61.5 zone here on the WTI oil, and then, of course, a clearance through the psychological 60 level. That would help. That would help the bears. The bulls, no, of course not. But for the bulls, what could help is maybe a push above the 66.40 zone, somewhere around here. That's the high of last week, and it's not far from the 200-day EMA as well. We're at this moment, it might shift, of course, later on. But look, if suddenly this somehow reverses back up, for me to get comfortable with the upside, I need at least a push back above this area. Then, of course, we'll target the $70 mark, 70.5, something like that here, or maybe even higher. But look, at the moment, judging from this, I think that the more realistic option is to actually continue monitoring this little territory right here, right near the 61.5 zone on the WTI oil. Brent oil, very quickly. Brent oil here, yes, similar story, similar movement here, $65 mark. I think that's a key area of support. If we clear that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We could be traveling towards the 62 zone, or maybe even better, the 58.5 zone, somewhere around here, marked by the current lowest point of this year. So in a way, the picture could look this way. So let me just mark this for our future reference. There we go. And this is, like I said, this is what I am looking at right now. So if we can get this clearance, wonderful, amazing. More sellers here could join in. For the upside, similar story. I need a clearance of the 200-day EMA, a push above that psychological $70 mark in order to shift my attention towards higher levels like 72.8, or even again rounding up to 73, or maybe even traveling back to the to this area right here. That's not the highest point of this year, 80.34. That's the highest point of this year. There we go. Let me just show you what I'm talking about here. This is January 15th, 82.5 zone. Look, we were here. Now we're around, like, we minus, like, almost 60, almost $20. So again, and like I said, I do believe that this could still drop lower, but again, a confirmation break is still needed. So at the moment, what could we could end up with a range. Same story with WTI oil. We could end up with a range, just moving sideways here until we get some sort of a catalyst here, a bigger catalyst. But at the moment, yes, watching this very carefully. OPEC is, of course, is one of the catalysts, but it seems like the market is getting, I wouldn't say immune to all these increases in output. No, it's just like the market kind of starts understanding that, yeah, that's what we're going to be getting probably right now, because it seems like OPEC is listening to what the White House administration is telling them. Or let's say not telling them, asking them to do. I think that maybe there will be some sort of an event that will trigger, that triggers the kind of a further slide. So let's see. Again, I'm not, like I said, in a rush here. Nobody is, and I would suggest for you not to be in a rush here, but just keep your eyes on some of these areas which are becoming quite key. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments what you think, if you agree with me or not, and we'll go from there. But don't forget to like and subscribe as usual. This would help us out a lot. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. So as always, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. And I shall see you in my next little video update. Bye for now.